Hello world, this is going to be part 2 of my record collection. We're going to go from the end of the B's, which is where I got to last time, all the way up to the D's, I hope, and I'm also going to try and make the filming a bit better than last time. So to start out with then, my Kate Bush collection. First of all, again there's gaps. Kate Bush, 2 of the kicking sides. One of them plays better than the other. Lionheart, which I don't think is as good an album as the kicking side. I do like the kicking side. Very hard to choose with Kate Bush. I have The Dreaming, The Hounds of Love, which is an excellent album. And I have Ariel, which is also a lovely album as well. This was a bit of a comeback album for her. The Byrds' Greatest Hits. It's been a while since I've played that album. I have been listening to the Byrds on Apple Music, mainly to kind of compare them with what the Beatles were doing at the time. But yeah, there's David Crosby's very dodgy moustache there. Call Me By Your Name, the soundtrack. A nice film. I think it's got a better soundtrack. I think were it not for the gay love affair, I think that Call Me By Your Name would just not have had a plot. But yeah, it was well done, it's nice, and the soundtrack is really good. It's even got a little bit of vintage Ruchi Sakamoto on there, which I'm very pleased with. 2 copies of Cameo's Word Up LP. Don't ask me why I've got 2 copies of that. I bought it in the 80s. It's 1987 that is. I bought that in the 80s and I saw it in a shop and I thought I had a hankering to play it again, to listen to it, whatever. It's really only got 3 good songs on and they're on side 1. And yeah, for some reason I've got 2 again, probably charity shop. Kind of one might play better than the other kind of thing. Glenn Campbell's Greatest Hits. Brilliant album. Absolutely brilliant album. They come 2 a penny in charity shops. I think I got mine for about 50p or something from an RSPCA charity shop years ago. A really sound vinyl purchase that is. Even if you're not into country music, which I'm not, you must have that in your collection. And this is Glenn Campbell Live, which I got thinking, oh, that'll be sort of pretty, you know, similar much of a muchness. I don't enjoy listening to that as much as I enjoy listening to Glenn Campbell's Greatest Hits. Everyone must have Rhinestone Cowboy and Wichita Lineman in their collection. They just must. As everybody must have the Carpenters 69 to 73 in their collection. That's the only Carpenters I've got. It's lovely. It's brilliant. I've got 2 albums by the Cars. This is what I think is their better album out of the 2 that I've got. This one, which has Good Times Roll, My Best Friend's Girl, has a brilliant drum sound on it, and I like sort of 80s, early 80s new wave drum sounds. I think they really were good. Whatever. This Drive, basically, Who's Gonna Drive You Home, whatever. It's not a patch, I don't think, on this one. This album here, is it called Drive? It's not, is it? Called Heartbeat City. And that probably tells you as much as you need to know about it, really. It's just too dated, too 80s-ish. Whereas this album would still sound fresh if it were released in 2023, so... Another lovely Tracy Chapman LP. Brilliant. And 2 lovely Petula Clark LPs. My Love from 1966, which has We Can Work It Out on it. What's another one of my favourites on here, which I actually put on? My Love, I think it was that I put on there. No, Sign of the Times. Sign of the Times. That's a lovely album. It's a lovely album. And then here's just a Petula Clark kind of greatest hits album there as well. Again, it's nice. It's nice. Pie Records. Gotta love it. A couple of Bruce Cockburn albums here now. Now I've got more of Bruce Cockburn on CD than I have on vinyl. An acquired taste, but I actually really enjoy it. This is World of Wonders. And I'm so grateful that his name is pronounced Cockburn, because it could be really painful. This is Big Circumstance, which was from 1988 and is actually really good. But I've got a live album from round about that time as well on CD, and I've got a few other later ones as well. And you actually can't go wrong with him, really. Even his Christmas album's good. When I first got into vinyl, I thought you had to have a Coldplay album. Don't ask me why, but this is A Rush of Blood to the Head. It's quite a nice album. It's got a few of Coldplay's famous songs on it. I do like God Put a Smile on My Face from it, I have to say. It is good, alright, but yeah, it's Coldplay. Now, I've got a problem here, in that I seem to have lost a Lloyd Cole album. It's probably somewhere else in my record collection, in the wrong place on the shelf. But this is Rattlesnakes. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Everybody must have at least 2 Lloyd Cole albums in their collection. This one, and hopefully the other one when I find it, if I find it. This is Judith by Judy Collins. This is Count Basie Classics. Noel and Gertie. I was in a production of Private Lives, and this has got scenes from Private Lives on it, which is why I bought it. But it's a good album, and it's extremely camp. I don't want to admit I've got this album, but it's the cream of Eric Clapton. I just find Eric Clapton extremely boring and controversial as well. Leonard Cohen's songs from A Room. Don't like that as much as I like just the songs of Leonard Cohen. Suzanne, So Long Marianne, beautiful. And I think that record actually plays really well as well. Oh, here's my other Lloyd Cole. This is Easy Pieces. Alright, so you must have Rattlesnakes and Easy Pieces in your collection. Let's see if I can get that back in the right place. There we go, that wasn't so hard. Everybody must have 2 albums by Crosby, Stills and Nash, or Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young in their collection. This is the original project. David Crosby, Graham Nash and Stephen Stills got together to produce this project. This was the first one they did, and then they added Neil Young to the lineup for Deja Vu. Both absolutely brilliant albums, really, really worth having. Daft Punk. V Westlife would have his Torture track from here, which I believe is around the world. I don't believe in torturing record players. I believe in getting record players that can do the job. So, you know, if your Crosley can't play that album and jumps on the bass, then yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, you do need a better record player. And most record players, most basic component record players will play that album properly. Right, this is Double Top by Darts, which I've shown before, and the sleeve is falling apart, which is quite sad. But yeah, that's there is an Apple Music version of Double Top, which basically includes every single piece of music that Darts ever put on record. You know, a couple of hours long of rock and roll. Is absolutely brilliant. But this is a very much truncated 80s K-Tel, I believe, kind of compilation. I mean, Miles Davis in person. Broken Frame by Depeche Mode. I really need to get some more Depeche Mode. That's really, there's no excuse for that. Neil Diamond, Primitive. That's about 1984 or something, that is. Don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy The Jazz Singer. What has happened to the film of The Jazz Singer? Can't find it for love nor money anywhere. Yeah. Need to have Neil Diamond's version of The Jazz Singer anyway. We need to get that back. Donovan. Universal Soldier. This looks like a Pie compilation. Their Marble Arch was their budget label. So again, once he'd moved to be with Mickey Most, and Mickey Most did a legal deal with the Americans and the Britons, which meant that basically his UK career was completely scuppered. But before that happened, we had Universal Soldier, and then for a little while the UK and America didn't get the same albums, and certainly he was far more successful in the United States than he was over here. But this is Sunshine Superman. I have 2 copies of it because avid viewers of my channel will know that one of my YouTube fans actually sent me a copy that was surplus to their requirements, so I've got it now. That is this one here. I'm not sure what label that is. I'm sure it's on there somewhere. But that's a brilliant album, is Sunshine Superman. And this is just the basic epic version, which I think I got in about 2008. I seem to remember actually unboxing a Disco Anti-Stat record cleaner and Sunshine Superman at the same time, because they both came from the same place. So yeah, look on my channel, you'll see that one being unboxed. It's a good album. It's a good album. I think they're both mono. This one says mono on it, but I think they're both mono. This one, Barabajaggle, is another brilliant album. Very weird and very diverse in its taste. Like Barabajaggle is, you know, with Jeff Beck as well, and it's, you know, just really funky and groovy. And you know, we then suddenly sort of finish off side 1 with I Love My Shirt, which you could teach year 1s, and one wonders why. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. Nick Drake, Made to Love Magic. That is the only Nick Drake I have on vinyl. I'm afraid mine is all on CD, and that is another remiss thing that I need to rectify that at some point. Duke Ellington collection, and then this needs a whole video to itself. My Duran Duran collection. Yeah, this needs a video to itself. So I will do it at some point. I'm well aware that I'm building up a John Lennon backlog at the moment. Alright, so yeah, the original first Duran Duran album, Rio, 7 and the Ragged Tiger, the Reflex 12-inch dance mix, which was lifted essentially from here, from this album, but then given an extensive remix treatment. New Moon on Monday. Meet El Presidente. Now, have I got something stuck there? Yes, I have. That is not a good thing that just happened there. 2 records got stuck together. That is not a good thing. Meet El Presidente and Skin Trade. Notorious. I love that album. It's probably my favourite Duran Duran album ever. And Big Thing. Okay. Bob Dylan, Another Side Of. The Times They Are A-Changin'. Bob Dylan, obviously. Bob Dylan Greatest Hits and more Bob Dylan Greatest Hits. If you have these 2 albums, you've probably got as much Bob Dylan as you really need. That's a terrible thing to say. Actually, it isn't. it isn't. But you've got the basis of a really good Bob Dylan collection if you've got these two albums. Highway 61 Revisited. I have 2 copies of Blonde on Blonde. This one is an original. It's incredibly warped, but still plays on anything better than a Crosby or an ATLP60. This is a modern reissue from about 2000. It would have been about 2012, something like that. Pretty modern reissue of that. I don't know the year, don't quote me on that one at all. The Freewheeling Bob Dylan. This is a 2000s issue, early 2000s. And Bob Dylan, Hard Rain. And that, folks, is where I finish today. That's the end of my D's, alright? I might do a couple more record collection videos in the coming days, just because I'm surrounded by records, and yeah, I need to try and sort them out. So, you know, my life at the moment is, you know, record Hades, as it were, and I need to sort it out. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share if you dare, consider a thanks, and I will see you in the next one very soon. Thank you, bye bye, goodbye.